Good morning, everybody. This is Dan Spotts on behalf of the Dallas Area Chamber. Welcome to the Chamber of Governmental Affairs, Community Affairs. I should say governmental affairs sometimes. Today is February 19th. Our guest this morning is Superintendent Carolyn Bernal with North Wasco County School District 21. Welcome, Carolyn.
Good morning.
Good morning. And before we start, we'll go around the room and ask people to identify themselves and any organizational updates for the good of the order. So I'll start with Trish Neal in my upper left on the Zoom table here. Trish,
Good
take it
morning.
away.
I'm Trish Neal with longtime member of the chamber. I'm with Legal Shield, and I'll drop my information in the chat box. And I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Trish. And that's a good reminder for everybody. Any updates, events, contact information, anything else you'd like to put in the chat, please go ahead and do so during the call this morning. Mr. Scott McKay.
Good morning, everyone. Scott McKay. I'm a volunteer for Circles of Care. Circles of Care is kind of on a hiatus. We're not accepting any new members or clients for Circles of Care, but we are continuing to visit and support those who have been assigned to in the past. And Circles of Care connects older adults who need some kind of periodic support with a volunteer who may come, and primarily friendly visits and some transportation. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Scott. Commissioner Brady.
Good morning, Phil Brady, Wasco County Commissioner. The state legislative session is on in Salem, which caused me to remember Joan Silver, wonderful member of this group from long ago, who would always update us, this bill, this bill, and that bill. I don't have the numbers that she has, but I want to remember her. One thing that we had a commission meeting yesterday. The Bright Night solar installation on Juniper Flat is moving to a next stage, and so the county is going to be looking at that. Does that project meet our county land use ordinances? And then we'll submit that opinion to the Energy Facility Siting Council. And so it's about midway through the process of getting permitted. We'll see where it goes.
Phil, that's a great reminder because Joan did used to give a periodic update, particularly during short session, long session. We don't have a speaker next week. That might be something to keep in mind. I know Lisa was interested in revisiting that periodically during legislative sessions.
Yeah, I'll think about, what would be a good person who could help us there. Okay.
Yeah. Representative Helfrich, perhaps, if he has time, but we'll work on that one. It's a good reminder.
Great.
Thank you, Phil.
Okay.
Lee Weinstein.
Good morning. Lee Weinstein, president of Q Life. You probably saw that we received a over $15 million grant, one of the largest grants in Wasco County history, and we'll be building a fiber optic network, expanding what we started here in 2000 to many, many more homes and businesses in Wasco County.
Gee, that is fantastic news. Good work. Congratulations.
Great team.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I'm on Starlink up here in Clickitat County, and halfway through this call last week, I dropped off. So you never know.
There you go with Starlink. I'm on Starlink now, too. Thanks to you.
That's right. You never know. Good work. Good work. Keep us posted, please, sir. Lee Wacker. Lee Wacker. There we go. Mike Wacker. See, I haven't had my coffee yet. Go ahead, Mike.
Good morning, everyone. Dan, I'll answer to Lee. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm with Fort Dallas Museum and the Dallas Kiwanis Club. The Kiwanis Club this month is committed to work with the backpack program. So last week we helped fill 283 bags for students, almost all elementary school students. And the museum, usually we're not open in the winter, but we have been, and it's been kind of fun. We've been getting groups. We've had a car group. We've had some groups from other schools, not local schools. We're going to have some more kids groups coming in, I think today and tomorrow. So I think we'll be staying open all year from now on. And y'all have a good day.
Mike, how does the backpack program work? Do you accept donations or how do you gather materials for that?
Definitely accept donations. You can take them to the food bank, go around back. The things that Glynis, I think Scheffler is her name, as how it's pronounced. She runs the program. She and Tyler Bean got it started like I think 10 or 11 years ago, and now it's grown. Anyhow, and kind of the loading area, there's a door there, and someone from the food bank will take your donations. The things that Glennis likes donated would be like snack items or oatmeal, little packets of oatmeal.
Hmm.
Those are the two things that that she really can't buy. Otherwise, cash donations are always welcome because they know what they need and they can get the best price. Thanks for asking, Dan.
Yeah, yeah. Any follow-up
He would be
information?
a good speaker. Maybe Glennis would do this.
Yeah, would you mind catching up with him?
I'll see her today.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, keep me posted on that one. Julie
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Good morning, Julie Reynolds here. Nothing to report. I'm on the Fort Dalles Museum Commission and Historic St. Paul's Chapel Planning Committee.
All right. Thank you, Julie. Jacob Anderson.
Good morning, Jacob Anderson, Economic Development Officer for the City of the Dalles, as well as the Urban Renewal Agency Manager. The big update we have is at our Urban Renewal meeting, the board decided to move forward with a new pilot project where we're going to be doing exterior refreshes on the downtown storefronts. So every building is eligible for up to $7,500 and 100% reimbursement for painting, fixing bricks, and just doing a cleaning and maintenance. And so we want to get downtown looking as spiffy as we can. And the program is first come, first serve, and it's up to $100,000 for the whole program, $7,500 per building.
That's
So help
nice.
spread the word.
I like that. Good work, Jacob. That'll be a big improvement of some buildings there. Thank you for doing that. Councillor Richardson.
Jacob stole my thunder. I guess I'm going to have to just sign off and say thanks for your good work. I'm kidding. There's lots going on in the city and in urban renewal, and some of you may have seen construction underway downtown. We are moving forward on some long anticipated projects there, and just happy to be here this morning. Thanks for everybody for your service.
Thank you for joining us, Dan. Nate Stice.
Good morning. You've got the whole Pippinich Stice family here. Marionberry jam on our rolls this morning, but say hi, Aiden. I guess my one update, I'll do one for the community college, is that we've got this Friday from 5 to 7, the opening of the new industrial training and assessment center. So lots of new toys at the college. I'm going to go back off video.
Thank you, Nate. We talked about that last week, but I'll put a reminder. I think I have a announcement sheet from that in my files, and I'll drop that into the chat a little bit later this morning. And Salvador Torres.
Good morning, everybody.
There you are.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Salvador, you might want to turn your volume up a little bit. It's pretty quiet.
Can you hear me better?
There, that's better.
Okay, awesome. I was having some technical difficulties this morning, but
Oh, I do too. Don't worry about it.
At the Columbia Cascade Housing, it really much is we're continuing to keep working on the same projects as I mentioned last week. We're still the apartments that we're currently building in and on top of Ixtapa and Hood River. They're moving quite along. It seems like we'll be hitting the deadline as long as there's no setbacks. Potentially, we will be getting the wait list on that here shortly. We're not 100% sure when that will happen, but they said about 4 weeks time, maybe a little bit more, to start taking applications for that. really not much else. Currently still working on the home repair programs for Washington, Oregon. What else? Oh, for anybody that is interested in getting a HUD voucher, this year we unfortunately, I don't believe we will be getting any funding to add any new additional people. So the wait list will just increase from, I think, 18 to 24 to 24 to 36 months.
So that wait list will continue to build, or do you think you'll be able?
Pretty much. The time frame will continue to keep building. Obviously, we're waiting on funding from HUD themselves, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like we will be getting any new additional funding for all of the new applicants that we have. So the wait list will just continue to keep getting bigger, unfortunately.
Keep our fingers crossed. If there's anything this group can be doing to advocate for the Housing Authority, Salvador, please let us know.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. With that, I believe that I've caught up with everybody on my screen, so I'm going to turn this over to our guest speaker this morning, Superintendent Bernal. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you. Do I have the ability to share screen?
You certainly do. I'm going to make you co-host. Hang on just a second. And it looks like screen share is coming through. There we go. I've got it.
Okay. Are you all able to see the presentation?
Yep, I can see it here.
Awesome. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here to share some highlights and district updates from North Wasco County School District. It's my pleasure to serve as a superintendent. This is my 5th year serving as superintendent for North Wasco County School District. And I'm just really proud of all the work that's happening in our district. The first year that I arrived here, we were just coming out of COVID. And that first year, we had one primary mission, and that was to keep schools open. And we successfully did that during that first year. And since then, post-COVID, we've been working hard to recover from COVID and make academic progress and get our attendance back up and our enrollment. So today I'm going to share just some highlights that are happening and some stats about our district. And of course, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. North Wasco County School District has 6 schools in it. We have Dry Hollow, Chenoweth Elementary, Colonel Wright Elementary. We have our middle school, we have the high school, and then we have our Innovations Academy. And Innovations Academy includes our in-person programming, online programming, and our NORCOR programming. So talk a little bit about our graduation rates. This year, the state actually saw record-breaking graduation rates happen across the state. At the state level, the class of 2025 had an 83% graduation rate. That translates to about 1,546 more graduates across Oregon over last year. Locally, our district's 4-year cohort completer rate rose to 82.9%, which is up from 78.8% the year before. So we're happy about that progress. 82.9 is nowhere near where we want it to be. Of course, we want it to be 100%, but we are making progress trending upwards. In 21-22, our graduation rate was only 71.1%. So we've made a lot of progress. The state requires us to set targets as part of, they're called longitudinal performance growth targets. And we're required to set 5-year targets so that we show and are measuring growth over a 5-year period. And so when we originally set our targets, by 27-28, we had set a target of 80%. So we've already exceeded that target. So speaking of longitudinal performance growth targets at the state level, there's 5 things currently that school districts are measured by. One is the 4-year completion rates or the graduation rates that I just shared with you. The other is 3rd grade reading proficiency rates, 9th grade on track, which is how many of our 9th graders are on track to graduate. Our 5-year completer rates, which are students who don't graduate in 4 years but still complete the requirements to graduate within 5 years, and then regular attender rates. And I'll talk about attendance later on in the presentation. But these are strategy-driven targets set by each school district. And our student investment account portion of our integrated programs is what drives these targets. The state currently is undergoing the rulemaking process right now around the accountability bill. And school districts, there's going to be 3 additional measures that are added. One will be 8th grade math. The other will be K-2 attendance, because K-2 across the state seems to be struggling the most with getting our kids to school regularly. And then the third will be a local measure that school districts get to choose. And so they're still going through that process of what those measures are, and then school districts will choose what that third additional measure will be. So there will be a total of 8 measurements through the accountability bill that will be required to be measured by. A little bit about our district. If you want to know about the students that we serve, we currently have 2,836 students enrolled in our schools. Our demographic makeup, 45% of our students are Hispanic Latino, 46% are white, and 9% are other or multiracial. 27% of our students are what we call ever English learners. That means at one point, any time in their schooling, they were identified as an English learner. We have 12 different languages spoken in our district, and 49% of our students experience poverty. Some highlights for you. Middle school math is trending up. We saw a 4% increase in our 8th graders meeting our math expectations last year. So we're glad to see that that number is trending up, as that will be, again, one of the measurements that we are measured by coming soon with the Accountability Act. Migrant students, they're graduating at an 86% rate, which is well above our district average. So we're really proud of our migrant students and the progress that they're making. Our talented and gifted students, we're seeing 95% graduation and completion rates for them. And 73% of our licensed teachers now have more than 3 years of experience teaching in the classroom. I want to give a special recognition. The Dalles Middle School actually showed student achievement growth in all of our 3 report card areas. Every year we get issued report cards that show how progress is being made at each of our schools. Our middle school showed growth in all of our areas in English language arts, math, and science. So we're really proud of the work happening at the middle school and the progress that they're making. And I really want to give a special recognition to our Innovations Academy. They've had a 20% increase in our 5-year completion rates and a 12% increase in on-time graduation. Innovations Academy serves probably our most fragile students, our most at-risk students. And currently our in-person program serves 101 students. That's grades 9 through 12. Back in 2021, when we first opened the program, we served less than 30 kids in that program, and it's grown to 101. And our Innovations Virtual program is a K-12 program serving students virtually, and we currently have 214 students enrolled in our virtual program. The other element of our Innovations Academy is our NORCOR programming. We are the educational provider for NORCOR JDEP programming, which is our Juvenile Department educational programming. And one thing I want to highlight is that in the last few years, we have now graduated 7 at-risk youth who have earned their high school diplomas with us. Prior to that, we had only graduated 1 student. Mr. Brady.
Let me interrupt on a positive note. Molly Rogers says it's actually 10 students have graduated, and if you're going prior to that, you're talking about my time there, and you're right, I only graduated 1. So they're doing amazing things.
They're doing great work. I didn't realize it was 7 might be the last number we have, so we may have graduated some more. I know we just graduated 1 last week, I believe. I was unable to attend that graduation, but I know we graduated 1 last week. So that may be in addition to this number.
Everyone is a life change, because graduating from high school basically greatly lowers recidivism, and it just changes people's lives. So whatever the number is, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really proud of that number. We're really proud of the work that's happening out at Norcor. If you've ever had an opportunity to visit our programming out there, we've added some CTE component programming out there. So our students out there are doing wood shop and they're doing hydroponics and gardening, which is really cool. And I've had an opportunity to visit out there multiple times, and the kids and the teachers have such great relationships, and they're really working with the kids to see life beyond Norcor and what life can actually look like for them. And so it's really inspiring to interact with those kids and talk with them about what their plans are when they exit the program. Julie.
I think you said that the program had grown quite a lot. Why did it do that? I mean, it's quite a large increase.
For the Innovations Academy?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, because I think it's an alternative program where our high school kids, if the comprehensive high school, so the Dallas High School, is not like a good match for them, then this gives them an alternative place to go. It's smaller classes, smaller campus, a lot more individualized attention. So I think kids choose to go there for a variety of reasons. They also can do kind of a hybrid model where they're in person part of the time and then virtual the other. And that's helpful for some of our kids, perhaps who have to work to support their family. So it's providing our kids an alternative placement or alternative educational placement to get towards graduation.
So it's optional. It's optional for them. They get to choose.
Yeah, it's always optional. It's not a required program. Yeah, all kids who go there, it's because they opted in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Or families chose that for their student. Yeah. Thanks. Those are great questions. I'd like to highlight our dual language immersion program. That program is currently housed at Chenoweth Elementary School, and we've continued to see an increased interest and enrollment in our program. It's now open to all incoming kindergartners, not just at Chenoweth. So district-wide, any incoming kindergartner student from Colonel Wright, Dry Hollow, or Chenoweth can choose to enroll in that program. Due to this increase in interest that we've seen over the years, we added an additional kindergarten class this year. So now we have 2 DLI classrooms at Chenoweth Elementary, and the program currently serves students through 5th grade. Next year, we're currently in the process of our expansion planning for the dual language immersion program because those 5th graders will be going to 6th grade. So we're working on what that expansion program is going to look like and what that 6th grade class will look like for the next year. And dual language immersion programming has 3 goals. There's 3 pillars of dual language immersion, which is bilingualism and biliteracy, high academic achievement, and cross-cultural competence. It's a really exciting program. It's very popular. It has a ton of parental commitment. It's probably one of our programs that has the highest parental involvement across the district. So it's a really successful program. We're really excited to see it continue to grow. Hopefully it's going to continue to grow, and we will have programming all the way through high school so that when those kids graduate high school, they can achieve a seal of biliteracy on their diplomas.
Let me jump in again and some more praise. When you mentioned biliteracy, we take that for granted that a person who grows up speaking Spanish can read Spanish. It doesn't happen automatically. And so having the kids being able to read in their native language is a huge benefit.
Yes, it is. And so in kindergarten, so the makeup of those classrooms are, we do a 33-33-33 model. So 33% of the students in the classroom are English only speaking students, 33% are Spanish only speaking students, and then the other 33% are what we call bilingual students who are fluent in both. That makes up the class. Beginning in kindergarten, 80% of their instruction is in Spanish and 20% is in English. And then as it moves up the grade levels, the amount of English instruction increases. So when they get to 4th and 5th grade, 50% is in Spanish and 50% is in English. And as we prepare for middle school programming, what will happen is it'll shift, and the content areas, we'll choose which content areas are delivered in Spanish and which are delivered in English. Mr. Stice.
Just
Hi.
gonna, I think you probably already mentioned this, but as parents of students who will be going through D21, how does one get into a dual language immersion program? So
They just have to, if that's a program that they want, we recommend that. So we usually hold parent informational nights for incoming kindergarten families in the spring. There will be like notifications that go out via Parent Square, and we'll post community notices. So families who are interested will be able to attend a parent information night in the spring. And then once they've attended the parent information night, if that's something that they feel is a program that they're interested in, then they will apply for the program. We've only had to do in the 5 years that we've had the programming, we've only had to actually do a lottery once where we had more interest than we had space for. But because we've seen an increase in demand, it's why we've moved to now adding an additional class. So that's why this year, for the first year, we have 2 kindergarten DLI classrooms.
well, Aiden and Eleanor help me with my Duolingo every night, so they're getting ready.
All right, we're excited. We'll have them. Business, just a little highlight about our business office. We're really excited. We just completed our 24-25 audit report. We had 0 findings, no corrective action. And so what that means for us is that we've really built strong systems. We have total accountability, and we have careful stewardship of our public funds. I'd also like to introduce you. That's Dan on the left. He's our new CFO. Who just came on this year. We had a transition year. We had Randy Anderson come back for a year and help us through a transition when our prior CFO left us. So Dan has come aboard. He's doing an amazing job. A little interesting background for him. His prior life, he was a beer brewer and worked in the brewery business and brewed beer. So very interesting background. But he does hold a BS in business administration, and he does have his CPA's license, and he's doing a great job in his first year. He's learning a lot, but I think he's going to be great for the long haul for North Wasco. So where do we still need to improve? Our enrollment is still below our pre-COVID levels. Pre-COVID, we had over 3,000 students. So we're still under our pre-COVID levels. Our number one focus area right now is our regular attendance, because currently only 68% of our kids attend school regularly. And regular attender, as defined by the state, means a student who attends 90% or more of their enrolled days. So that means that 32% of our kids are what we would deem as chronically absent, meaning they're missing more than 10% of their school days, or at least 2 days of school per month. When you add all of that up over the course of a year, a lot of our kids are missing almost a month of instruction. And what we say is, like, if kids aren't in school, we can't teach them. So that's a problem. And we know that attendance is actually one of the strongest predictors of 3rd grade reading levels and on-time graduation. So a kid who's coming to school regularly, especially during the formative years, K-3, if they're a regular attender, then it's highly likely that they will achieve 3rd grade reading proficiency, which then will lead to on-time graduation. The other area that we're heavily focusing on is our 3rd grade reading rates. We did see a slight dip in our achievement this past year. We are in a new curriculum adoption. We adopted a new curriculum 2 years ago, and a dip is pretty common during implementation as our teachers and students adjust to teaching a new curriculum. That said, we have early literacy dollars as part of our integrated guidance programming. We are in our 5th and 6th cohort of having all K-5 teachers trained in the science of reading. And we now have a new teaching, learning, and assessment director, Dr. Ivy, who's excellent and is doing a lot of work with our teachers in curriculum alignment, identifying the power standards, and helping teachers feel successful in teaching our children to read.
Dr. Bernal,
Yeah.
is the attendance has it changed since pre-COVID? I mean, after, let's say COVID over in, let's say 2022, has it been inclining and kind of staying at that lower level, or has there been shifts?
Yeah, when you look at the attendance rates pre-COVID, they were like up in the 90% tile. Like there were no issues with regular attendance prior to COVID. Post-COVID, and we're not alone. Like this is a nationwide issue. This is not a North Wasco specific issue. Like all school districts across the nation are struggling still with getting kids to school regularly. And it's hard to say and actually pinpoint any one driver of it. But what we are focused on in terms of regular attender is, so one of the things we brought on last year, we received some federal grant dollars, and we've been channeling those dollars. We hired youth outreach workers in collaboration with the Next Door Incorporated. And so every school has a youth outreach worker, and their primary job is to track all of our chronic absentee kids, make connections with them, work with the families, try to support the families in whatever they need, connect them to services. And we have seen progress being made with some of our chronically absent kids coming back to being regular attenders. At the same time, we're seeing some of our regular attenders dip back down into being chronically absent. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah, and it's like trying to stay dry in a rowboat when you're in turbulent seas. We're affected by everything around it. And with that analogy, I'm aware of families, immigrant families who've been, well, I'm going to use the word traumatized because the school district is based on trauma-informed care, and I'm fearing for, it's not the school district's fault. We're holding up those families. But how that's going to affect those kids and their classmates throughout their careers.
Yeah, we definitely saw a dip in our attendance rates, especially for our Hispanic Latino community this past November, December, when we had immigration enforcement in the area. And when we compared our rates of attendance this past November, December to last year at that same time, we definitely saw about an overall 13% decrease in our attendance for our Hispanic Latino students, which is terrible, right? Because kids should not be afraid to come to school. And once we have them, I assure you they are completely safe. We keep them very safe inside our schools and are very actively vigilant of any stuff happening in the area as it relates to immigration enforcement. We have all of our protocols in place. We don't share those openly, obviously, for reasons, but we do have protocols in place and everyone's trained in what to do should we ever have an event where immigration came onto our campus, but that has not occurred.
That anticipated one of my questions, Carolyn. I'm glad to hear that. Julie, you have your hand raised.
I was thinking that some of the problem with ICE is they're not necessarily coming on campus, but contacting people before they get there.
Yes.
So the question I was wondering about was, do you have any online learning going on at this time, and does that count towards attendance?
It does. So our virtual academy, our Innovations Virtual Academy, that's open to any students in K-12. And we have seen a little bit of an increase in enrollment into that programming this year. Last year, we had probably about 130 kids enrolled K-12, and now we're at 214. So we have seen an increase. I haven't dug into the demographics of who are our kids in our K-12 programming to see if that increase is specifically tied to some of our students and families who may be impacted by the immigration stuff happening. But I suspect there may be a correlation. But we do have virtual programming for those families who maybe are fearing or don't want to send their kids to school in person. Virtual is an option for them.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to say, like, we can't succeed or do this work alone. We really appreciate all of our community partnerships that we have across the Dalles and in Wasco County. We do value all of everyone's insights and feedback. So please always let us know how we can serve our students and our community better. We're really proud of the progress that we're making, but we do remain focused on the work ahead, and we want to make sure that every student in North Wasco is able to achieve a clear path to success. So that was all I had to share with you today. Happy to take any other questions you might have.
Julie, go ahead.
I've got a lot of questions. It's really interesting. So this one is about class size, because talking to teachers, they all, including some in the family, they say makes a real difficulty for instruction. Yet I think I've read that studies show that the size of a class doesn't have a big impact on outcomes. Wondered if you could comment if that's correct.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty accurate. If you're there's some really great research done by Hattie, John Hattie, who he did a huge study where he looked at a whole bunch of variables about what all goes into schooling and what makes kids successful, doesn't help them be successful, etc. And class size was one of those variables that he studied. And the research does show, like, class size does not necessarily equate to students doing better or being able to be more academically successful. The number one variable that drives student success is teacher efficacy. So how efficient is the teacher in teaching the content is basically what that means.
Yeah. So it may be working out for the students, but it seems like it's pretty hard on the teachers.
100%. Yeah. I mean, more kids in the classroom is always hard, for sure. And we understand that. We've tried to keep our class sizes, as low as we can, unfortunately, with tightening budgets. And not a lot of resources coming in from our state. It's hard to manage and maintain those smaller class sizes. But on average, we still are well below, I think, the state average of what class size looks like across K-12. And so we'll continue to have that be one of our primary missions. We also continue just to look at, like, what can we take off the teacher's plate to free them up to really just focus on instruction.
Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll agree that, class size is, once you get past 24, it's about the same, but don't tell that to teachers. They feel it. I want to talk about finance for a bit. The school district benefits from some of the strategic investment programs coming from our large industrial people. I think 700,000 is in my mind. Do you know how the school district is using that?
Yep, it's a little over 700. It's about 745,000 is going to be
sounds right.
coming in. Yeah, so it will go into our excise tax fund that was established a couple of years back by the school board, which means that money is going to be directed right back into our facilities and maintaining our facilities. As you know, we have aging facilities across the district that require a lot of maintenance and upkeep. So that money right now is earmarked for facilities improvement and projects.
Okay.
We have a question from Jacob Anderson.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. So did you say that your 8th graders took a 4% bump in terms of the number of students that are meeting grade level for math? I'm just looking at the academic achievement details from 24-25, and it looked like 15.6% of the kids are meeting math standards. That'd be a pretty significant jump, but the state's goal is 80%. What are you guys doing to try to bring that up, and how quickly do you think that can come up to at least meet the state average of 28% right now?
Yeah. Well, so we're also in a newer math curriculum adoption. So, and when we went through our math adoption process, we were pretty intentional about ensuring we had representation from all of our schools in the math adoption process, because we knew this was an area that we needed to focus on and grow in. So when we chose our curriculum, we were pretty intentional in the curriculum that we chose, especially as it relates to the K-8 spectrum. When you get to high school, it becomes a little different. And then we also brought on iReady assessment programming, which the iReady programming, the kids go in, they're taking different tests within iReady that's measuring where they're at, and then iReady is then tailoring for that kid and for the teacher exactly what are the skills that that kid needs to make growth over time in math. So that's part of where we're seeing a bump in what's happening, and then we're having our teachers regularly meet every week, and they're looking at their achievement data, what's happening with the kids, and then they're moving the kids around into different groupings based on skill, giving them the additional skills and things that they need in order to fill in the gaps of what's missing in terms of their achievement. So there's a couple different things that we're working on. And then we're working on like K-5, 6, 8, high school, all the different transitions that happen, and then the communication between K-5, 6, 8, and that alignment work that needs to happen, not just with math, but with reading as well. So lots of different things that are happening in order to get us up to that target. How fast do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. I mean, 4% is a great jump comparatively over last year. If we could continue to grow at 4% every year, we probably could hit the target sooner than later. I just don't know if we'll get there as fast as we want to.
Carolyn, I've heard often about the impact of COVID, the generation of kids coming out of COVID. Are you seeing that effect in math and reading as well as that cohort goes through the
Yeah, I mean, there's that piece of it too, right? So we have the kids, all the kids who were impacted by COVID, and you have to look at them as different cohorts, right? But so those kids are still moving through our schools. So let's see, the kindergarten cohort from 21, 22. So those are now our fifth graders, right? So, and so those kids will continue to, move through. And we see that in our data as well. When we look at our data, you can see like our K3 data looks very different than our 4-8 data. Better, like our K3 data looks better than our 4-8 data for obvious reasons. So
does that affect teaching methodology for those particular cohorts affected by COVID, or they're more intensive, more individual work?
Yeah, a lot more intensive, intentional teaching and supports and interventions that are happening for fifth grade and up versus our K4, right? We just also received, we're actually excited, we just received high dosage tutoring grant dollars for K5, which is allowing us to do in-school additional tutoring for our kids and also tutoring in our after-school program. So.
Nate, I think Nate, and then Mike Wacker.
Appreciate all the work to to improve quality. I was just going to say, you know, I work in economic development day to day. Jake does too, and I think one of the biggest things that I hear from employers is, you know, thinking about the schools and the quality there. I guess Phil asked you a question earlier about a new revenue source, and you suggested that you were spending it on facilities, and I just wanted to ask what your like overall deferred maintenance costs are right now. And so just, you know, for maybe folks who are watching the video of this after, that's basically the duct tape and baling wire you're using to keep current facilities operational. What is that like number for you, and what are your strategies for meeting it right now, just to keep our current schools up and running?
It's a great question. Like if I was going to quantitate it, if I include like the energy costs to run our buildings, because it costs a lot more money to keep the lights and power and heating on in our buildings than like say a brand new building. So cost efficiency wise, not great on the on that side. And then the ongoing maintenance. One of the things we keep running into with the maintenance of our buildings is some of the things, for example, our boilers that keep our buildings warm. They no longer like make the replacement parts here in the United States. So we actually have to get the parts outside of the country, which is crazy. And so I would say, I don't want to say a number, Nate, because I don't know it off the top of my head. And I'm certainly happy to talk with my CFO and see like, what is that exact number if you had to say an annual cost to keep our buildings open. But if I had to guess, it's probably over $1 million a year for sure. And that's probably on the lighter side. Yeah, the high school is 87 years old. Colonel Wright is 100 years old. All of our other buildings, with the exception of the middle school, are well past their shelf life. But the middle school also is approaching shelf life, even though it's still considered like one of the newer buildings, but it's almost 25 years old. So, and has issues
that.
too. Yeah, I mean, like the elevator in the middle school went down this year, and we have a student that needs access up and downstairs, not able to get up and downstairs physically. And so we had to come up with a plan for that kid of how we were going to get them upstairs and downstairs while we were working on the part. And it was related to the electronic panel inside the elevator. And the original quote came in to replace it at $450,000. I mean, that's not chump change. Fortunately, we have an amazing facilities director who worked really hard and was able to get us a replacement panel, like refurbished replacement panel for a much lesser price, which we went with because $450,000 was going to be a significant bite out of our budget. But yeah, like we just had a boiler go out and I was told, yep, they have to order the part, but they don't make it here in the United States. So we're ordering it from outside the country.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Certainly we deal with a lot of the same sort of facility issues at the college, in replacing things. I guess I was asking because I just wanted to put in context, right? Like certainly the new revenue is a shot in the arm, and it's like maybe is like one roll of duct tape for keeping things together and keeping things operational into the future. So
yeah, and I think it's actually more expensive to keep older buildings in good shape than it is newer buildings. What I will say is, and I think one criticism we often hear is like, well, you don't take care of the buildings you have. And I would argue, actually, we take really good care of our buildings. The fact that they are as old as they are and that they're still open and functioning and we have heat and we have power and we have all the things actually speaks highly, I think, of our maintenance team in doing their due diligence and working hard to keep everything in operating order. So
indeed. Mike and then Phil.
My question, actually, segues right into what the previous question was, is there a bond in the future? I just wanted to thank you. I can't imagine a more difficult, complex job than being a school administrator.
Thanks. It's certainly fun. Every day is a new day, is what I say. So, I mean, there's something new every day that happens or comes across my desk, or I'll be like, wow, I've never seen that before. But so I enjoy the variety and the adventure. As it relates to a bond issue, we don't currently have any discussions happening for a bond issue. So one of the things is during our last bond, when it didn't pass, we were also at the end of our shelf life for our long-range facilities plan. And one of the requirements to be able to go out for a bond is you have to have your long-range facilities plan completed. And we're in that process. We've had all of our assessments done, and now we are getting ready to go out to bid for architects or firms to work with us to put all the information together into our long-range facilities plan, which is really like your roadmap for the next 5 to 10 years of what's going to happen with all of your buildings. So we're completing that process. Also, we just recently had board election. We have 4 new board members on, and so right now we're just focused on getting them onboarded and comfortable with their role as school board members before we tackle a huge topic like a school bond with them. So we're not currently in discussions for like a near future bond, but it's definitely on our radar to go out again.
Mike, thank you for asking that. That was one of my questions too.
Yeah.
Phil, take it away.
Yeah, our buildings are old. You can think of like the high school's like a baby boomer who's ready to retire, and some of the other schools are like octogenarians that are in retirement homes. That's just, and that they keep them running is impressive. I want to encourage you to think about audience as you make this presentation. As superintendent, your first focus is to make sure you're reading the state requirements. And so the things that the state requires, like third grade reading levels, are key benchmarks, not necessarily what the public is thinking about. The public focuses a lot on the high school. And so there's some things at the high school that would be really attractive for the public to know. I'll name 3. One is the what we used to call shop classes. Those teachers are doing great things and really engage the students. The second is the advanced placement whole network. I mean, it's not just one class. You've got 3 or 4 teachers doing advanced placement work, and that is really shows the students what they are capable of, teaches themselves, identifies, wow, I can really do this work. And the third is the Aspire program, which is putting kids in Ivy League schools, and there's a few of those bright stars out there, but then it's also helping parents navigate the college entrance system. I've talked to people I know when I mention this to people in Hood River, they say, "How can I get my kid into the Dalles so they can take advantage of the Aspire program?" Those are things that would really make sense a lot to the public in terms of highlighting what's going on. That's not part of the state requirements. We're going beyond that.
Yeah, our CTE pathway programming at the high school, we actually have 7 pathways now. We had just added a 7th, which is the health and sciences pathway. And now we're exploring adding an 8th, which would be a teacher educator pathway, which would help us do kind of like a grow your own model where we get high school kids interested in teaching and learning. And we're going to be looking to collaborate on that one with the college, because it's my understanding they're looking to add something up there for teacher educator pathway. And then with our Innovations Academy, we are looking to add a pathway over there for agriculture. So we're expanding CTE programming. It's pretty popular in our schools. A lot of kids enroll into that programming. Our Aspire programming with Elaine, you're right, is a bright star. a few weeks ago when I was at the high school, I happened to be in her office and she was working with a kid whose identity had gotten stolen through the FAFSA process. And so she was sitting there with the kid and they had a script and the kid had to call and she was walking him through it. And I just was thinking, wow, like without that kind of assistance at our high school, I'm sure that kid would have had like no idea what to do or how to navigate that situation. So amazing work happening with Aspire program and under her leadership. And I'm really grateful to have her along with us. And you're right, our AP class programming is also another bright star in our high school. And we have a lot of kids excelling in that programming.
Fascinated to hear about the ag program discussion there. I know the college is looking, I think, for a faculty lead for an ag tech program, so possibly another dual credit aspect there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be great. Yeah, we have a teacher at Innovations who is ag sciences and animal science, and so really looking to bring on an ag CTE pathway out there at Innovations.
excellent. Closing in on the hour here. Other questions for our guest, Superintendent Bernal? Wow. Well, Carolyn, good work.
Thank
covered a lot
you.
of ground. All right. Thank you.
It was a
very
pleasure
much
being
for
here
joining.
with all of you, and thank you for all of the great questions and feedback. We much appreciated. We appreciate all of your support.
Well, we appreciate everything that you're doing, everything at the school district. So continue, keep up the good work. With that, folks, I put a couple of links in the chat. One is to the background on the event coming up at the college this Saturday. No, what is it? I guess it's Friday the 20th. This is on the Skill Center, the 3D training program there that's basically outreach to the business community as well, where industries can go on and companies can do prototyping, things like that. And then the other one, of course, is to the Chamber events calendar. We have a whole bunch of stuff coming up. Business after hours today at the Rayland Hotel, this evening at 5 o'clock. We have Fort Dalles Rodeo or Fort Dalles Riders, Queen Coronation and Brunch is on the 21st. The Rogers Club. Sip and Glaze. That looks interesting on the 21st from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Dalles Arts Center, things like that. So follow that lead and you'll find out more. With that, I think I will give you about 1 minute back in your day. Again, our guest this morning, Superintendent Bernal. I don't know that we have anybody scheduled for next week, so let's be thinking about it. We talked about legislative updates, and Mike, we talked about backpack for kids, so ideas welcome. Keep me posted. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your week and have a good weekend. Signing off.